Chapter 314, Sinister Earth Spike 1. Anti-Repulsion Electromagnetic Bomb. Zhu Tui understood what was going on the moment the repulsive force flying car lost its momentum and fell. However, there was nothing he could do. Anti-repulsion electromagnetic bombs were relatively high-end destructive weapons. It could overload the repulsive force device of the repulsive force flying car. The electromagnetic shockwave after the explosion could directly damage the electronic pathway of the repulsive force flying car, causing it to lose its power. Almost instantly, the two repulsive force flying cars fell freely from a height of 200 to 300 meters. If Zhu Tui and the others did not deal with the speed at which they were falling, they might have become meat patties on the spot. However, these situations had already been considered when the repulsive force flying cars were created. Zhu Tui used all his strength to pull open the emergency landing device on the repulsive force flying car. "Pull the emergency button," Zhu Tui shouted through the public channel of his communication device. The better communication devices were all equipped with electromagnetic absorption devices in case the equipment was damaged. Unless it was a low-frequency electromagnetic pulse bomb that was specifically targeted at personal communication devices, it would not be able to destroy personal communication devices. In the next moment, the two repulsive force flying cars shot out a huge parachute from the top of the car. Zhu Tun and Cheng Mo's bodies trembled. The momentum of the repulsive force flying car suddenly decreased. "There are people below. There are quite a few of them." Cheng Mo immediately adjusted the direction of the external mirror to observe and report the situation on the ground to Zhu Tui. At that moment, Zhu Tui's mind raced. All kinds of thoughts and emergency methods surfaced in his mind. However, none of them seemed appropriate. Zhu Tui could already use his mind power to step into the air. In other words, Zhu Tui could just jump off the car. But what about Cheng Mo, Gong Ling, and Zuo Qingqing? Zhu Tui could not abandon them and escape alone. Moreover, the enemies lying in ambush had already used high-end weapons like the anti-repulsion electromagnetic bombs. There would definitely be no lack of anti-air weapons. It was impossible to jump out of the car and escape. The moment he landed, he could rush out of the flying car to fight. However, they had not discovered the number of enemies yet. If they rushed out rashly, they would most likely be targeted. Zhu Tui instantly realized that he was in an extremely dangerous situation. At this moment, any decision he made might determine his life or death, or the lives of Cheng Mo, Gong Ling, and Zuo Qingqing. Using the emergency parachute, the repulsive force flying cars began to fall towards the ground at a safe speed. However, it did not take long. They would land in 10 seconds at most. He had to calm down. Zhu Tui kept telling himself to calm down and find the key to dealing with the situation. "What should we do, little Tui?" Cheng Mo asked. "Little Tui, what should we do?" Gong Ling's anxious voice came from the public channel of the personal communication device. This was a dangerous situation that Zhu Tui had never encountered before. It was also a moment of life and death. The enemy was unknown, but he had to make a decision immediately. The key point. What's the key point? Suddenly, Zhu Tui had an idea. Anti-repulsion electromagnetic bomb. Zhu Tui suddenly understood. Since the enemy who ambushed them had used a very precious anti-repulsion electromagnetic bomb, their first target was not to kill them. They had other motives. It might be a robbery. There were a lot of raiders at the edge of the primitive mountain forests that were rarely visited. Their targets were usually those who had returned with a full load. As long as their first target was not to kill them, Zhu Tui still had a chance. He might even have a chance to turn the tables. Zhu Tui instantly made a decision. Prepare for battle. Prioritize defense. Lock the car door. You are not allowed to open the car door. Or get out of the car without my orders, Zhu Tui immediately shouted in the public channel. Understood. Roger that. Gong Ling and Zuo Qingqing responded immediately. They could hear that they finally had some confidence after receiving Zhu Tui's orders. Zhu Tui was their backbone. However, they did not know that Zhu Tui, who did not know what was going on, was also panicking. All of the repulsive force flying cars had bulletproof bodies and bulletproof glass. For safety and to prevent the birds from colliding with them, Most of the car was also an integrated structure. If it wasn't for the fact that the objective was to kill, at least they wouldn't kill anyone before they succeeded in the robbery. The repulsive force flying cars would be able to provide them with a certain amount of safety time in a situation where they were concerned about their lives or belongings. It would take a certain amount of time to break through the repulsive force flying cars. This was the reason Zutui had made such a decision. Zutui tried his best to adjust his breathing so that his nervousness would not affect the stability of his mind power. His mental perception instantly spread out. It spread to the limit of 42 meters. At the same time, Zutui's mind power immediately entered the original quantum frequency of the mountain, thanks to his improvement over the past few days and his repeated experiences. It was as easy as eating and drinking for Zutui to sense and find the original quantum frequency of the mountain. Almost at the same time, he activated his earth perception. Zutui immediately realized that because he was still in the air, the distance of his earth perception was much shorter than that of standing on the ground. It was only 80 meters wide. However, as the repulsive force flying car approached the ground, the distance of the earth perception continued to increase.